All right, welcome to Off Topic 2025, our first edition, where we always go
Off Topic.
Okay, we're going to talk college football playoff. Very, very exciting. Matt Macri, you start us off, my friend.
Wow.
Wow.
A lot happened in college football. So the first week kind of went as everybody expected it.
The top teams won.
The top teams won.
Yeah.
Right? You come in and the top four teams who had the bye week, right? And in week two now have all lost. So it's kind of like, what happened there? So you have the number. What do we got? Notre Dame beat Georgia.
Yeah.
They're 7.
They're playing Penn State.
Which is the 6th team.
Yeah.
And so 7 and 6 are playing, and 8 and 5 are playing. So 5, 6, 7, 8 are in here out of the top 12, which is kind of really wild in my opinion here. The two games that I want to talk about happened on January 1st. And
Yes.
I was at Disneyland on January 1st, right?
Well, one happened January 2nd, because we should note that the terrorist attack in New Orleans.
Prayers for New Orleans.
Postpone the game, and thoughts and prayers to the victims.
Yeah.
It's just how this keeps happening is beyond me. But anyway,
Yeah.
You go ahead. You talk the first game.
Okay, so the first game was Arizona State versus Texas, and I'm in line to meet Minnie Mouse, and there's a family in front of us, and me and my wife are there, and the family in front of us, and the guy's got his phone going, and I see it's football.
And I'm going to guess most people thought Texas was going to take that game easy.
No, Arizona State was the favorite.
They were the favorite?
They were the favorite. Texas was.
No.
It was 4. They were 4 and 5. So I mean, it was one or the other, right? Arizona State was the favorite. Yeah. They had the bye. And I said to him, I said to the guy, he's got his phone going in the football game. I'm like, who are you watching? And then I realized he's got Arizona State gear on, right? And I'm like, oh, you're right, Arizona, Texas. And I'm like, what's the score? And he's like, 24-8. And I'm like, ooh. And it was in like the fourth quarter type thing, right? And it's late in the game. And I'm like, not looking good. And he's like, yeah, I was hoping we'd do better, right? And then we move up in the lineup a bit. And it's these lineups in Disney take a while, right?
That's what you pay for.
Not 10 minutes later, he turns around and he leans around his wife, looking around my wife. He's like, we tied it up. We're in this Minnie Mouse house.
Why is he at a Minnie Mouse house when his team is playing the college football playoff?
So,
yeah, grow a set and say, no, honey, I'm finding a TV and I'll see you in a couple of hours.
So
really?
He was a great dad. He had very cute kids.
Oh, he's with his kids. Okay,
the kids were there too. The whole 9 yards. Yeah, there was a family thing. It looked like it was like him and his brother. And two families, right? They were there together,
right?
And you got to make these sacrifices for your kids.
You do,
but
however,
technology lets you take it with you on the road. You can go with it, So Arizona State ended up losing in double overtime. They tied it up, went to overtime. They both scored, so it went to second overtime. And they ended up losing in the second overtime. Well, so I felt bad for the guy.
Yeah.
But Texas is just as good of a team. The other game, and now all over Disney for days, is you've seen the Oregon logo.
Yeah.
Everybody there was come down to watch because Oregon was playing OSU in LA at the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. So you've seen it everywhere, right? And then it disappeared for game time on January 1st. Did not see an Oregon logo anywhere in Disney, right? And I clicked onto the game at one point, and it was not a game. It was 34-8 at the half.
Ohio lost to Oregon State to start the season. Ohio comes into Austin Stadium and in not Springfield, the other one across the street. I know what it's called.
Eugene?
Eugene, thank you. And Ohio is number 1, and Oregon is number 2.
Yes.
And I missed the game. I wasn't able to watch it for whatever reason. And it was an absolute dogfight with Oregon pulling a rabbit out of their hat in the dying seconds and winning it by 1 point. 1 point. It was as tight a game as you can. And then they switched, number 1, Oregon, number 2, Ohio. And Ohio ran into a bit of trouble, and Oregon kept winning, and goes undefeated.
Yes.
So Oregon went number 1, which may be a bit disputed. I got to see them live. I was there at the game against Maryland. I was a little surprised because Maryland's not that strong a team, and I kind of thought they would dominate, and they really didn't. Like, they were good. They were kind of a well-oiled machine, but I didn't see a really dominant performance out of them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they get this rematch in the playoff, and Ohio wanted that win better than the next one.
And this is when you talk about intensity, you know, and wanting to win. Like you said earlier, I want to win. Everybody wants to win. When you want to win, you come out there with intensity. You come out there with fire. You put up 34 points in the first half. That's wanting to win. And Ohio State wanted to win that game. Oregon, I think, rested a little bit on their laurels. Just by watching the highlights, they didn't come out with the same intensity. Yeah, they wanted to win.
Sure.
But I think they thought they were going to win.
Yes.
And that's a mistake a lot of teams make.
Well, here's the thing. When you lose a game that tight, how do we tweak things to win? When you win a game that tight, you know what? Let's keep doing what we're doing. Yeah. It runs into that. That's the trap, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And you don't want to reinvent the wheel, especially when you go into the playoffs, but you can tweak it.
Yes.
You know, the original wheel was made out of rock and you know, barely round. The new ones are really nice and shiny and spin, right? You know, spinning rims and stuff, right? So you don't want to reinvent the wheel, but you want to tweak it.
Yeah.
And then, so you flip to the other side of the bracket, and you've got Notre Dame, who's just on fire. I mean, they beat Indiana, who is number 10. Not a big deal.
No.
But then they come in and beat the number 2 seed, Georgia, University of Georgia. Wow. I was not prepared for that. They are going to the semifinal against Penn State,
who I haven't seen.
Yes, and I haven't seen them either, but they are a decent team. They
beat Boise, who had probably the best running back in the college football playoff.
Genty, he's just unbelievable. Really vicious late hit on him, though. I mean, that was really ugly.
But not doing that against that Irish defense.
So Penn State's going to come in. They beat Boise. Now they're coming in, and they're going to face Notre Dame. And whoever comes out of the Cotton Bowl, which is Ohio State and Texas, is going to face whoever out of the Orange Bowl, Notre Dame and Penn State, and that's going to be very, very interesting. Now these games are Thursday, the January 9th, is the Notre Dame Penn State, and Friday, January 10th, Ohio versus Texas. So
now, I've seen a few Notre Dame games this season. I became a bit of a Notre Dame fan when Chase Claypool won.
Right, yeah.
Their head coach, the first time I saw him interviewed, his name escapes me. If you want to Google it, feel free. He looks like he was young enough to play. And my first impression was, why are they talking to some player that's not even dressed to play? And then I realized a second later, he's actually the head coach.
Marcus Freeman.
Yes. Now, the argument these days in college football is that godforsaken transfer portal that they're not handling very well. So, Illinois, Notre Dame was a perfect example.
Yeah.
Illinois got 30 players, including Curtis Rourke, off the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Okay? And he went ahead, the head coach, and just stacked his team. Curtis Rourke had already played 5 years for the Ohio Bobcats. Now he's playing 6 years, sixth year, with Indiana.
Well, he would have redshirted.
Was it Illinois or Indiana?
Indiana.
He
would have redshirted a year or two.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it's getting like loser status here.
Yeah.
Go play pro somewhere. Notre Dame, by contrast, got 12 players off the transfer portal, and he got 12 players that he needed to complement his team in order to win.
Yeah.
One of which was the quarterback, Riley Leonard, who was at Duke for 4 years, and who plays a very, very aggressive, I don't care if I get hurt kind of game.
Right.
He got some first downs on fourth down that were pretty impressive. This is what I like about Notre Dame. Their defense is amazing. They had, during the regular season, not one, but 2 99-yard pick sixes. The odds of that happening in one game is like off the charts.
Yeah.
Their defense smothers. I was watching a game, so dude's like, Buddy's trying to the tailback and the other team's kind of push through, and the defender's like shoving him back, and the offensive lineman's on the ground, and he grabs the guy by the leg and tries to torque his knee a bit, and he stops and he looks at him and he turns around and he grabs him by the face mask, the helmet, and he punches him right in the face. There's so much fight in that team. He just stopped, looked at him, grabbed, bang, right in the. They don't do that, right? They have a tailback named Jeremiah Love
Yeah.
that against Indiana on their second possession on a jet sweep scored a touchdown for 98 yards. Like
1,076 yards, 16 touchdowns for Jeremiah Love this year.
he's 19 years old and leaves a vapor trail when he gets 18 inches of daylight. They are an explosive team. They've got a great defense and they've got a really explosive offense. Against Georgia on the opening kickoff in the second half, 98 yards for the touchdown. Like it's crazy what they can do. So the fight is in the Fighting Irish, and I would put good money on them to take out Penn State.
Yeah, and they won quite soundly, 23-10. But you can tell like their games are defensive battles.
Yes.
Right.
And they win them.
The one game they lost 16-14.
Yeah.
It wasn't even blown out.
No.
But I'm looking down here in the
Game they
regular
shouldn't even
season.
lost. The other team just fluked it off.
There's 2 games where they allowed more than 20 points. Well, 2 games where they allowed more than 15 points.
So what are you shopping on Temu right now? Because I'm looking at green hooker boots.
Well,
It kind of tracks your history, Matt. I'm just going off topic here a little bit.
that's funny because I don't shop Temu, but I don't. Yeah, they come up with some weird stuff there. My wife gets order. I get my order from Temu. I'm like, oh my goodness, what's coming now? But yeah, no. But I'm looking here. Yeah, in 2 games. One game against Illinois, they won 31-24, and another game against USC, they won 49-35. If you look at the rest of their games, they did not give up more than 15 points.
Yeah.
And that's
a really
crazy.
dangerous team.
Yeah, their defense is just crazy, and you want to. Could we get rid of the hooker boots? Now you got me all self-conscious here. So
There we go.
There we go. So when you go into a game against a team like that, your defense has to be ready to stop, which is a fairly explosive offense.
Yes.
They've scored 20-plus points each game. The one game they lost, they didn't.
Big plays. Like they're a big play, going for the fences kind of offense.
Yeah, and, but their defense is going to hold you down. So you got to find a way to break through their defense.
Yeah.
And if you can, you have a chance against them.
Yeah.
But if you can't,
You're done.
you're done.
Georgia is a big, strong, solid team, and they sacked their quarterback 4 times.
Yeah.
Now, Georgia, to their credit,
10 points.
to their credit, their starting quarterback got hurt, Carson Beck, so they went with their backup. And he was good. He played a good game, but he got sacked 4 times. And the dying seconds of the first half, they came in and just chopped down on his arm as he's cocking back for the pass,
Yeah.
forced a turnover. 13 yards later, one pass that's in the end zone. And then, of course, the 98-yard kick return, and that pretty much put the knife in their heart, right?
Well,
That's what they'll do.
And I'm looking at Georgia here, right? And the games they won, 34-3, 48-3. Oh, well, that was a 13-12. 31, 41, 30,
Yeah.
34, 28, 31.
And they held them to 13 points.
10.
10 points. Yeah.
That you've got an explosive offense in Georgia, 59-21 against Massachusetts.
Yeah.
You got it. Well, now we got the Princess Leia bra on there. Jesus. Temu, get off my feed.
I love it. I love it. We know what goes. I'm getting a visual, and I'm trying to unthink it.
I'm a lumberjack and I don't.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So that's my dark horse. I mean, Notre Dame has just been.
They have it. They have been very solid.
Yeah.
Defensively.
And it's getting exciting. It's good. It's fun.
Yeah. So.
But the transfer portal, of course, is coming up again.
Yes.
And what drives me nuts with the transfer portal is this: all the players, or all the coaches, all the pundits bitch and complain about it, but they don't do anything about it, right?
Yeah.
And Gino Auriemma, I think I'm saying his name correctly, is the iconic head coach of the University of Connecticut women's basketball team.
Right.
This guy's the Coach K of women's basketball. He's a machine.
Okay.
He's a machine. He's unreal. And he stood up and said what no one else wanted to say. Look, if we want to pay players and finally stop pretending we're not playing players and pay players, that's fine with me. I'm under no illusions about this. He's been in the game a long time. He's been coaching for like 30 years.
Right.
But if we're going to pay them, they have to sign a contract and they have to be held to the contract.
Yeah.
So you can't just keep moving and chasing the money.
Yeah.
Like it's getting to be a bit of a joke.
I agree with you.
And also for JUCO, it used to be you played 1 or 2 years at JUCO, and that minused away from your college.
Yeah.
Well, now that isn't the case anymore. So you're going to have guys in their 30s playing college football.
Yeah.
It's getting to be a bit of a joke, but no one's doing anything about it, which is driving me nuts. And if enough coaches stand up and said, look, we're not dealing with this anymore, fix it, it'll force the NCAA to fix it. And this is the NCAA that pretended that players weren't getting paid for 30 years and had some, investigators going after the SMU Ponies and USC, and they shut down a few programs, but they're largely, it was like, the finger in the dike with the water spraying out everywhere.
Yeah.
You stop 1 and 2,
Yeah.
and then you have, a couple more, and it just wasn't working.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, we
it's
could sit
getting
here
a
and
joke.
debate. We could sit here and debate different ideas and whatnot. I think the transfer portal had good intentions.
yeah, but they didn't tighten it up.
But they left it. Yeah, they didn't tighten it up, and they left it wide open so that it was abused. Now it's
Yeah.
got to be taken away. The
It
transfer
doesn't need
portal.
to be taken away. It needs to be tightened up.
Yeah.
Like if some guys already played, and furthermore, like 5 years at one college, you're done. You're done.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's time to move on. Like you should not be allowed to play a 6th year of college football or even be in a 6-year. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, get a life, man. Like,
yeah.
come on.
Well, but they redshirt. You redshirt,
Yeah.
you don't play, but you're considered. You've been on the team, but
Yeah.
you didn't actually play. And I do agree with that because there's some players that when you look at the age, they're coming into college at 17
Yeah.
because their birthday's not until December, right? So you redshirt that year because you're too young.
Right.
They got to tighten up the rules. They leave them too loosey-goosey. There's too many different, like if the NCAA is going to be the all-encompassing body, everybody's got to follow the same rules. You can't have the different rules for the Pac-10 over the big,
The SEC and
yeah, exactly. Everybody's got to be on the same playing field.
right.
They don't want to do that.
No.
The universities themselves aren't going to agree to that because that isn't going to help them, right? They're always, what's in it for me? So, I mean, there's got to be someone step in and take control, take the reins. And
Show some leadership.
the transfer portal had good intentions. It was for players who were in bad situations to have the ability to get out.
Yeah.
Right? I
Now
think
with NIL, they're just chasing the money.
they're chasing the money. So if you take the transfer portal, right, and you have it adjudicated,
Yeah.
right? Why do you want to leave? Well, because they're going to pay me more. Get back over there.
Yeah, too
Right?
bad.
Why do you want to leave? Me and the coach don't see eye to eye.
Yeah.
I'm getting buried beneath these other players, and I want an opportunity to play.
I was all American. They brought this other guy in. He's the coach's nephew. He's playing him more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are reasons why the transfer portal is useful, but it's getting abused.
It is.
So-
It is, and they need to switch it up. But I liked his point is perfect. Gino or his point.
Yeah.
If we're going to pay them, then you have to sign a contract, and you have to be held to it.
Yeah.
And if you want to get out of the contract, there's ramifications for that. You have to pay us back. So
Well, Thursday, Friday, keep an eye on it. You're going to have Texas and Ohio State, Notre Dame and Penn State. It's going to be a couple of good games.
Very
We'll talk
good
about them
games.
next Saturday.
all right, that's it for us.
That's
Thank you
it.
for tuning in. Rumble in the Rockies. Thank you, Wayne Bjorky, for reminding us. There's a new date for Rumble in
Hey!
the Rockies. There it is. March 20th to 23rd. It's happening over March break. It's a much better time than in February where kids would have to take time off school. Great tournament. Register your team. It's a showcase tournament in Red Deer, indoor facility. Brilliant. Get
Facility, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to Google Rumble of the Rockies to get an email address to get information because we don't have any on the graphics here. But Rumble of the Rockies, it is a great showcase.
Showcase.
Showcase. We'll put it in the info below. Rumble of the
Along the
Rockies.
We'll take care of that for you. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Off Topic, our first edition for 2025, where we always go
Off topic.